everybody, and welcome to this episode of Alice Cooks Cinnamon Rolls. It's been about 8 years. In fact, Mom, you were in Hawaii back in 2011 when we did Alice Makes Navajo Frybread, and that was a huge success. There's a lot of people that loved that recipe. They left a lot of good comments throughout all of those years saying how, they thought Alice, also known as Bug, because that's her nickname. We'll get into details on that a little later on. What a wonderful woman she was.
And still is.
And still is. We haven't made a video in 8 years. And so, I no longer live in Hawaii. I now live in the Pacific Northwest. And so I'm on vacation here in the Southwest. We're about 8 miles south of Gallup, New Mexico, on a Navajo reservation where I grew up. And so I thought, hey, since I'm here visiting, let's do another episode of another cooking episode. And Mom was all up for it.
I'm all up for it. Here I am.
Yes, here you are. Okay, so I think, Mom, before we get into what we're doing here and all the ingredients and stuff on this, making this delicious Bug cinnamon roll, let the people out there know why your nickname is Bug.
Well, when I was a little baby, I was crawling around. I wasn't doing it on my hands and my feet, and I had bald head, and my eyes were real big. And I came around a corner, and my dad said, "She looks just like a great big old bug." And after that, that's who I am, Bug.
So we're here in Bug's kitchen here in New Mexico. And Mom, tell us about the ingredients that you got here to make your cinnamon rolls. Also, where did you come up with the recipe?
I just come up with it out of my head years ago.
Yeah, just you. Would you have a dream, a vision, a prophecy?
No, I just kept going until I perfected it.
Okay.
Yeah, I made it over and over and over again until I got what I wanted.
And I have to say that we were her test subjects. It was wonderful, though. She had it perfect at the beginning. Okay, Mom, so what do we got going on here?
You know what I forgot to put over here was salt.
Okay, salt. So she's got everything over here, and now we got salt. So
we've got 7 cups of flour in the bowl.
Okay, how many cinnamon rolls are we talking about then?
Oh, we're talking about, let's see, about a dozen and a half, I would think.
A dozen and a half.
Yeah,
okay.
They're really big. They're not little tiny.
They are huge. Go ahead. And so how many cups of flour in here?
Okay, we got 7 cups of heaping cups of flour in there. Yeah, and then we got 3 packages of the quick rise yeast.
Okay.
And we have a cube of melted butter here.
Okay.
We have our egg and a cup of sugar.
Okay, and you got salt.
Yeah, and we have our powdered milk right here.
Milk. Okay. All right, and then later on we'll talk about the cinnamon and stuff like that. Okay.
Right now we're just making this so it can rise.
Okay, so go ahead and mix away, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so as she's putting all these ingredients in, I just want to say that I had the opportunity to go around the countryside here on the res where I grew up and do take some pictures and even some drone footage of some of that. Now, wait a minute. So how much salt did you put in there?
Just a handful.
A handful of salt. Okay. So I want to make sure we got down there. And so I want to show people pictures of, you're going to put the egg in there and the sugar. All of that's going to go in. Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to show people here shortly a picture of what we call Red Rock, and that's where we used to go when we were kids. Beautiful place, and you've been on top of Red Rock for every so often, but of course not lately. But when you were when we were running around and you were chasing us in diapers, I suppose.
Yeah, you guys were all over.
Okay. So Mom is going over there. She put some eggs, she put her sugar in here, and she put some salt in here, and she's got 7 cups of flour, and then she put in. We're going to have to ask her about how much powdered milk you had in there. And then she's getting some water as well. So she's stepping over to the sink. But some of the pictures I'm going to show you here is the area that we grew up in, chasing goats, horses, riding horses. And I'm going to tell you a little story about when I first started riding horse. I must have been about, what, 6, 7 years old, Mom? Okay, how much water did you put in there?
This is 4 cups in here.
Okay, 4 cups of water. And how much powdered milk was there?
That was a fourth.
A fourth? You got your KitchenAid here. You're putting in some more water because you think that it's not...
You got to kind of put the water in so you can feel the...
Okay, you got it?
Put the water in so that you can feel the consistency, you know.
Okay.
And it should be, once you start, mixing it by hand, you want to make it smooth and elastic.
Okay, so this one here, it looks like you're putting what, another couple of cups in there or what? Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting a couple in here, and then we'll save some and see if we need more. Kind of got to work with it.
So you got to work with it. Oh, okay, a little bit of spilled there. So we start mixing it slowly on what setting? Stir setting. She's on stir setting on her KitchenAid here, mixer. And we mixing it?
Yeah, we're mixing it. Then in a little few minutes, I'm going to put that melted butter in there. That's a cube.
That's a cube.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad that you told us. A cube of melted butter. Okay. Now, so you kind of, let's go ahead and see this again. You kind of work it. You're moving this up and down, the KitchenAid mixture up and down, putting a little bit more water in there. You know what? It looks a little bit like fried bread dough.
Yeah, it does.
And it's splashing. So.
I usually don't do this on the table.
Where do you do it then?
I do it
In the
over
sink?
there. Probably need to do that. Probably.
Okay. All right, she's putting butter in. She's putting butter in.
There goes the butter.
There goes the butter. Yummy, yummy.
There.
Okay, so how long are we going to mix it for? We're stirring it, and how long will this take?
We got to make sure it's in there good, and if we need to put a little more flour in, we'll do that too. You got to play with it.
Okay, you got to play with it, just like in the episode for Navajo Frybread, you had to play with the dough. It seems like we have to play with the dough here, so it's all by eye, I suppose. You know, you're looking at it and saying, okay, it's thick enough. Now, do you also sing to it?
This one I sing to it when I'm rolling it out.
She sings to it when she's rolling it out.
People don't understand. They try to make my bread, and they say it doesn't come out right. And I said, well, you don't sing to it.
Okay. Now, what kind of song would you sing? Now, I know you're a little bit Irish there, but
Mama's little baby loves shortening, shortening.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that my brother is doing the shooting on the camera here. His name is Johnny Cake. And how did Johnny Cake get his name, by the way? His name is Johnny Begay Jr., but we call him Cake. Yeah. Why would that be?
Well, when he was a little guy, and you know how most people played with their babies, patty cake, a baker. Well, my mom used to make Johnny cakes when I was a little girl, and so when I use a patty cake with him, I'd say Johnny cake, a baker's man, and he just...
And you roll them and you put them in the pan.
Yeah, and then you throw them way up high. But he used to sing that to him all the time, and everybody around started calling him Johnny Cake. And he's 50 years old now, and they still call him Cake.
Yeah, we call him Cake.
Yeah.
So you can have your cake and eat it too. Okay, so... We're mixing it here, and what consistency are we looking at here? Is there a specific time that we're doing it, Mom?
Not really. You just, like I said, I just play with it until it looks good. It looks like I might have to put a little bit more flour in it.
Okay, why would that be?
Because
it's whipping up on your arm.
This is me. Okay. I get stuff all over the place.
Yes, you get messy.
Yeah, my sister.
And you know what? I would say that if you don't get messy in the kitchen, you can't be a good cook, right?
That's what my sister used to tell me. If she doesn't make a mess, it's not going to be any good.
Okay.
And
all right. So she made her mess, and she's doing a good job, by the way, you know, and because you know who has to clean up that mess, right? Okay, so now she's getting some more flour. Okay, Mom, while you get some more flour, I just wanted to talk to you about just a little bit about, I learned how to ride horses when I was about a 6 or 7. So I'm going to walk over here and we'll talk about that a little bit while you get some flour. Yeah. And so I recall this. I recall you and Dad being on a horse, full grown horses. And horses here on the reservation, most of the horses here are quarter horses. And it had a colt. And you guys put me on that colt. Now, I was terrified. The colt was small. I was small. And I was like wiggling back and forth, almost falling off. I was terrified. But I actually, after that ride or two, I was starting to get better at it. And I was holding on to that little pony with my legs for dear life. But it was a lot of fun. But that's how I learned how to ride a horse. And then we bought another horse. She actually bought a horse called Coco. Yeah. That horse was bony. It was bony. It was old horse. It was fed well, but the back had bones on it, and we used to ride our horses bareback here on the reservation. No saddle, just a saddle blanket and a bridle. Yeah. And bridle. Yeah, and so she had some great horses. There was one horse, her firstborn was called Ginger, turned out very good, gray horse, beautiful horse, female horse. But the secondborn was called Ringo. Yeah. And why did we call that horse Ringo? It was brown. It had a white sock on the back, but tell us why we call that horse Ringo.
It had a ring going around its forehead.
That's right.
A white ring.
That's right. It had a white circle ring with brown in the middle and brown on the outside. It was perfect circle and then a little dip down the nose. And we called him Ringo. And he was my horse.
Yeah,
and
it's Chipper's horse.
Yeah, and I raised it, and I used to ride it bareback with no saddle. And it turned out to be a beautiful horse and a fast horse. Yeah. And then Tinkerbell was the next horse that we had, right?
Yep, Tinkerbell.
Yeah. And that belonged to my sister Misty. Anyways, so that's our little history here on riding here in the backcountry and on the reservation. And so, okay, it looks like you're stopping this now. So
I'm just going to see what consistency it is.
Okay, so that's the consistency.
I'm going to have to have a little more flour in it. I'm gonna play with it here a little bit. Put some grease on my hand.
Okay, putting grease on your hand. And why would you do that?
So that I won't get it all stuck all over me.
Okay, all right, Mom. So we're putting grease in there, and now, so it's looking. Oh, you got some flour at the bottom there too. So you're mixing up that flour from the bottom, huh? Okay.
I'm getting all that in there.
Okay, great.
And then we'll pull that all up.
Okay.
Get it going, and we'll mix it up some more with this one.
Okay.
I've got to see if I can turn this around.
Okay, so she's taking it out of the mixer here, and she's going to reach in there and grab some of the flour from the bottom and mix it in real good. So it seems like we're the time that we're mixing this is what? How long do you think?
Oh, I'd say about 15 or 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, 15 or 20 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and jump back to you guys here in just a little bit as she gets ready to do what's the next step.
We're going to put it into the bowl and let it rise.
We're going to put it in the bowl and let it rise in just a moment. All right, so Mom has taken the dough out of the mixer over there, and what are you doing now, Mom?
I'm just mixing it real good by hand, making sure that it's the right consistency, and it feels good. You want to feel it and make sure it feels good.
Okay. To make sure it feels good, how much experience does that take?
Oh, that's a good question.
Do you think that the dough will feel good if you feel good?
Oh yeah, you gotta work with it, and it has to know that that you're feeling good about it. Yes. You know, dough is funny. It's almost alive.
Okay, while you're feeling it and making it feel good or whatever you're doing there, could you, I think we were almost about 35 views into our Alice Makes Navajo Frybread video. Uh-huh. When you went shopping at Walmart. Now this is 4 years ago. Yeah. Tell us about your little shopping experience at Walmart in Gallup, New Mexico.
Well, I was back where you get the eggs and stuff, and I had my cart there, and I was just walking along, doing my usual stuff, and this woman, she came up to me and she says, "I know you." And I says, "Well, I used to work here at Walmart." "No, no, no, I know you. I used to work at Kmart. I used to run the family dog." "No, no, I know you." And then finally she said, "You were in a video. You were in Hawaii making fried bread. You're a celebrity." And I just, and she wanted to take a picture of me so she could send it back to her boyfriend. She was from California. And she just followed me around and says, "I'm not a stalker. I just want to tell you that we kept watching your till we learned how to make the fried bread." And when I got back, when she left and I went out the car because I was just really cracking up, and I called Chip and told him I'm a celebrity.
She called me. She says, "Chip, you won't believe this, but I'm a celebrity." I go, "Really?" She goes, "Somebody from California just happened to be in the store and Walmart and seen me and watched the video."
Yeah, so I'm a celebrity.
Yeah.
I haven't let it go to my head though.
Yeah,
I've been.
but what are the odds?
I know.
she's traveling back from the east, right, and then
Yeah.
going to California, and she runs into you, the celebrity, and what were you? Did you have some bluebird flower in your?
Yeah, I did. She took a picture of me with the bluebird flower.
Yeah, and there's your look at the bluebird flower
Yeah.
flower apron. Yeah. For those of you that are just tuning into this here and haven't seen the Alice Makes Navajo Frybread, the big ingredient there is bluebird flower, by the way. So just let you know that. That's why we were talking about this. Okay, so what are we doing right now, Mom?
Okay, I put it in here and we're going to wait until it rises. I'm going to put it where it's kind of warm, and it's going to rise up and it's going to look really big in this bowl.
So what makes it rise?
The yeast.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how long would you think that it would take for this to rise to the level that you want it to?
Oh, probably about half an hour, once the warm is there, and it'll puff up. You'll see it when it gets through.
And we'll see it in just a moment. Here we are. Actually, what we did is the dough was all fluffed up, and we took care of that, and we squashed it down, and then Mom rolled it out to about 1/4 of an inch. And then after that, she's rolled it up. She actually put butter on it. There was about a 1/3 cup of butter, and then she put a couple of cups of sugar, sprinkled it on the dough, and then she put a nice amount of cinnamon on top of that, and then she rolled it up into this roll that you see right now. So this is where we're at, and boy, that looks like it's going to make big, thick cinnamon rolls.
It will.
Okay. All right, so she's cutting it.
Yep, they're going to be big.
Make sure you keep your fingers clear, and kids, you shouldn't do this.
Yeah, don't let the kids do this. Well, when they get as big as Chip, then you can let them do it.
Okay, so we're getting pans here, so we're going to put the cinnamon rolls in a pan. How hot is the oven?
I usually put it about 350. My oven, I put it at 375.
Okay, 350, 375.
Yeah.
And then once you put it in the oven, how long will it cook?
I usually just keep an eye on it when they look done, but I'd say probably about a half an hour or so.
Okay, half an hour or so. Okay.
I usually don't time things.
Okay. All right, so now we put the cinnamon rolls in the pan.
Yep, going in.
And how big will these cinnamon rolls grow to?
They're going to grow really big.
Oh my gosh. So she's resting, of course, resting her back. And right now we have the cinnamon rolls cut up and put in the pans.
And then they're going to rise. We're letting them rise again. And when they rise, they're going to rise pretty big and about double in their size right now. And then we're going to put them in the oven. And we're going to watch them. I don't really time things, so I kind of watch them, but till they get nice and brown. But you might want to time them. I think maybe a half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that would do the job. So.
Okay, let's bring the camera over here, and let's go ahead and we cover these up, and we let them sit there, and they're going to rise some more. And how long again?
Till they double.
Okay, until they double. So we'll take a peek at it and stuff like that. So we take a look at what they look like before we put them in, and then they double. You cover them up and you let them rise again. The first time it rose in the bowl, we didn't catch that on video. my brother is still learning the camera there, but we did lay it out on the counter. Then we put flour on the counter so it doesn't stick to the counter, and then we patted down the dough, and then we rolled it out to 1/4 of an inch. And then we put a 1/3 cup
butter. It's a whole cube of butter.
Yeah, and it's melted in the microwave. Okay.
And you put that all on, you smear it all on with your hand and get it all gooey on there until the whole thing's covered.
Yeah. And then after that, we took a couple of cups of sugar and we sprinkled it evenly.
All over, even.
Okay, so next time we'll be ready to pull the cinnamon rolls out of the oven. So stick around. Okay. Here we are, Mom. We just took the cinnamon rolls out of the oven. How do we get them on? Okay, we have, what is this here that we got?
Parchment or wax paper, you can put them on.
Okay, so we took the pan and we turned it upside down.
Yeah, on another pan. What was it? I have a bunch of stuff in there, big one where we could turn it over onto there. And then we got another pan and turn it back over onto here. Yeah. So this is what
it takes a bit of practice, and my brother Johnny just did that, and we should have got that on film. But actually, the pan's upside down on this parchment paper, and then you take another pan on top of the parchment paper, and then turn it upside down and lift this out and remove the pan from the bottom. Right. I hope people could hear that. Didn't have the mic to my phone, my mouth. Anyway, so what is next?
Okay, next we're going to make some frosting.
This is still hot. It came right out of the oven, and now we're going to make some frosting.
Yeah, now we're going to make some frosting for it. So we're going to put I'm going to cut this.
Okay, she's going to cut that packet of powdered sugar so she can dump it in here. I just want to mention, that if you ever come to Gallup, New Mexico, there's a place to go which is called Jerry's Cafe, and it has delicious Mexican food. And every time I come to Gallup, I have to eat there. It's got the best stuffed sopapillas, and here's an image of it right now. There's nothing like it. It is a small cafe. They've never changed throughout the decades, and the same food, delicious food. And, you can go in there and people actually wait in line to eat there. And anybody that's been through Gallup knows about Jerry's Cafe, and they always go back there when they come back to visit Gallup, including me. And it's kind of interesting because you have, Navajos with their jewelry walking around selling jewelry and stuff right there on the spot. Okay, Mom. So you put a whole packet of powdered sugar in there.
A whole lot. It's a 2-pound bag.
Okay, a 2-pound bag of powdered sugar. And now you're getting some butter.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult these days. And you got to sit down because you got your back starts hurting you. When we were kids, and you actually taught us how to cook. And one of the reasons we had to do that and learn that is because here we were, in our early teens or what have you. You and Dad were working, and so we had to have dinner for you by the time you guys got home and feed it, So me and my 2 sisters, including my brother Johnny Cake here, learned how to cook, and we still cook, and I cook for my family, so you did a good job on teaching us how to cook.
Well, I kind of come from my mom when they were working, and that's what I had to do. My brother, though, he wasn't like you kids. He absconded, left it all up to me, so that's life.
Well, I think we turned into some pretty good cooks, and what I really like to do is I like to look at the recipes and find out some of the recipes on YouTube, and that's how I learned some of the other, foods to cook and stuff like that. Now you have a packet of butter here. Yeah, and you're going to melt it in the microwave? Okay. Is it going to be...
I'm going to breathe fire on it, Chip.
You're going to breathe fire? Are you a dragon now? Okay, bug. So Mom is going to go and she is going to put that in the microwave and melt the butter, and she's going to put it in here. And then also we have some vanilla as well that we're waiting to put in there, and we'll get to that in just a bit. Okay, Mom, you put the butter in there, and you put how much vanilla in there?
I put a couple of teaspoons.
A couple of teaspoons of vanilla in here, and then how much water are you putting in there?
I'm just putting it in. I didn't measure it.
So you.
Kind of wanted this consistency right there, though.
Okay, so we're looking at the consistency here, and that was pretty fast. You're just whipping it up there really fast.
Yeah. Uh huh.
So what would you call this kind of frosting?
It's just a glaze. I used to do all this stuff by hand, mixing my dough, and I kind of like this little mixer.
So now you're going to take the frosting with a spatula or whatever you got there. What is that called?
It's a spatula.
It's a spatula. Okay, and you know what? These rolls, you started out with 1/4 inch, dough, and look, now they're 2 inches thick, and look absolutely delicious here. Nicely golden brown, and now we're going to put some frosting on top of that. So are you going to frost those things like a banshee, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So how much frosting do you get out of here? I mean, you just how much do you scoop out?
I
Take
don't.
the whole thing out?
Yeah. Usually, I don't know what in years gone by, I used to just use my hand.
That's like, you know what? I think that's like butter frosting. Is it butter frosting glaze?
It's kind of a butter.
Okay. And where are you going now, Mom? Okay, it's just a good idea. Always wash your hands, especially when you're dealing with chicken. No, we're not dealing with chicken here, but that's just a side note. Okay, so Mom is washing her hands, and she's being a good cleanly cook.
That's what Mom's gonna do. She's gonna take it like.
Why do I feel like there's going to be like a frosting fight here pretty soon? She's going to slap my face with this frosting.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah. Mom has slapped my face a few times growing up, and she doesn't mess around. Although if she did it with frosting, that would have been much more. That would have been much more enjoyable.
He would have said, "Slap me again, slap me again."
Yeah, I remember that, Mom. You used to say, "I'm going to slap that smirk off your face." Do it with a little bit of frosting, would ya?
Sorry about that.
You slapped me with love. And now we got some delicious cinnamon rolls here that are, preparing themselves to be eaten very shortly.
Yes. And
I don't know. It's been quite a long time since I've had cinnamon rolls from you.
I know. It's been a while. I make them, but you're not here.
Yeah, well, I'm on the other side of the country. Okay, so how soon can you start eating these?
Anytime.
Like right now?
Yeah, like right now.
Oh, you're so easy.
I never see you.
You know, if I grab one right now, you're not going to slap me, are you?
No, you can grab one, eat it, and enjoy it, and you're just going to be a happy camper.
Okay, do we just tear one off, or cut it?
Tear it off. It's
okay, I see a big one here, Johnny. Why don't we take a look at this here? See, it's still warm. It's still warm. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, you ready? Here we go. Oh. Help me. This is all gonna be gone by the end of the night. All of this. Well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Alice's Kitchen, or Bug's Kitchen. And we hope you get ready to make one of these and just see how delicious it is. And they make some of these for special occasions, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, what have you there. And so, Mom, you going to dig in?
No, not right now. I'm tired. I got tired of making them. Now I got to wait a while.
She makes them, she gets tired, and we eat them. Right, Johnny?
There you go.
Okay, take care. We'll see you.